right now. So welcome to today's session. Again, my name is Mike. I represent Cleared Knit. Thank you very much for joining us today for this awesome session with NYU Stern. We have Rabia Ahmed, who is here with us today from NYU Stern, who is going to share probably more information than you would even need, which is fantastic. So it's great that we have someone who's really tied into the process, someone who's been doing it for only a couple of years, right, Rabia? Not too long, right? And able and willing to work with us and provide you with some great information here today. So with that, I will pass it off and we can begin.
Great. Thank you so much, Mike, and welcome to all of you. Thank you all so much for joining us today. So as Mike mentioned, I'm Rabia Ahmed. I'm the Executive Director of MBA Admissions at NYU Stern. I've been here for over 15 years, and when I say that, I get two different reactions. Usually it's, whoa, that's a really, really long time, or you must really like what you do. And I was a career switcher myself. I actually worked in corporate finance before switching over to the education space. I was getting my master's at NYU and learned that there was a job open in admissions. All I knew was that we got to travel around the world, and that's really all I wanted to do at that time. So I've been here for 15 years. I've read thousands of applications, conducted hundreds, probably thousands of interviews, and read tens of thousands of essays during my time. I've worked with all of our programs, the full-time program, the focus programs, the Langone part-time MBA programs. And I really know that at Stern, it's really not a one-size-fits-all type scenario. We understand that people have varying interests and passions. And as a mom of two young kids, it's definitely something that I'm very aware of and surprised by. And it's a little bit of an occupational hazard, actually, having young children who gravitate towards different interests and passions, and wondering, like, what are they going to do when they grow up? What are they going to gravitate towards? Are they going to want to become actors because they're so dramatic? Or are they going to be engineers because my daughter loves puzzles? It's hard to know. But as an admissions officer, we know so much of your story is baked into what you do now and what you want to do. And because we know that there's no one program for everyone, we, have designed MBA programs to meet the needs of you for where you are. So with that, I'm looking at the results of the poll. Thank you, Mike. It seems like there's a good number of you that are interested in part-time, the Andre Ku Tech and Entrepreneurship MBA. Some people are not sure yet, which is fine. That's what I'm here for. But a lot of you are interested specifically in our 2-year full-time MBA. So I'm going to spend time talking about each of those. We're going to leave time at the end for any questions that I may not answer or may not get to. So with that, let's get started. So I am going to spend a little bit of time talking about the different program options, but also want to spend some time to talk to you about what makes the Stern MBA unique, what's similar between our programs, and what makes them different. As I mentioned, the programs that I will be focusing on are the Andre Ku Tech MBA, the Fashion and Luxury MBA program, our Langone part-time program, and then, of course, the 2-year full-time program. I'm going to before I get into that, I want to walk you through some of the shared elements and get into details of each of these programs. We just did a poll, but since you're all going to be back in school soon enough, I want to take a really quick, question, which asks, why are you interested in pursuing the MBA? There are obviously, but to choose the right reason takes some self-reflection. So if you could just take a second and choose any of the options on the screen, it'll help me sort of understand what your motivations are and why you're interested in specifically an MBA. Some people want to do a summer internship because they want to try out a new industry because they're interested in making a career switch. Others are looking for a flexible program where they can go at their own pace. Do you know the industry that you want to work in and you want to go deep with the MBA? They're all great reasons. And based on what you're looking for, Stern has a program for you. So with that, maybe, Mike, when you're ready, we can end the poll. Great. So it seems like the majority of you are interested in making a career transition. A good number of you, about 60%, also want to gain more technical business skills. And then a few of you want to broaden your professional network. What you'll learn very, very quickly is you can broaden your professional network in many, many different ways, but the MBA definitely gives you the right structure and preparation to do that at your pace. So before I begin talking about what makes the programs the same and what makes them different, I really want to talk about what makes Stern so special. As I mentioned, I've been here for 15 years, and we're able to offer an amazing MBA in the best city in the world. And we can do this because what we look for in our students are exceptional individuals who possess and recognize both intellectual and interpersonal strengths through what we call IQ plus EQ. Just moving the slides forward. And while at Stern, we help the students hone their EQ skills to develop emotional intelligence. This is the #1 skill recruiters and companies constantly tell us they're looking for in MBA hires, and why we look to select individuals that are already excelling in this area. At Stern, you'll develop both your emotional quotient and emotional intelligence through a variety of formal and informal mentorship programs. And what truly makes us unique are the people that build our community. There are students to the alumni that come back, that give back, that show up, that hire, recruit, mentor. They're the administrators that work tirelessly to make the experience everything that it can be, that are constantly thinking about ways to adjust and change. We're not a school that just sits back and says, what we've been doing is working, we're not changing anything. We are constantly looking to update, upgrade, and elevate the experience for our students. So for me, what really makes us truly special is our community. It's what makes the Stern program so unique. Now I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the shared elements among our MBA program. Regardless of the program you attend, each student is part of the Stern community, calls Washington Square campus their home, arguably one of the greatest neighborhoods in the world. All of our students participate in student club activities, experiential learning programs and opportunities, and our coursework, and often together. And all of our programs are taught by the same world-class faculty. So regardless of which program you do, it's the same faculty that teaches it. Our faculty consists of 300 members who are experts in many, many different fields, and we have 4 Nobel laureates, senior business leaders, top researchers across many, many different industries. Many of our faculty members have led, founded, and influenced the world's top businesses. They're tapped regularly for their thoughts, ideas, and research, and are amongst the most quoted faculty members amongst top business schools. People like Dolly Chugg, who is featured here, is a psychologist, a professor of management, and she's the author of the very popular book, The Person You Mean to Be, How Good People Fight Bias. She specializes in diversity in the workplace and implicit bias, and teaches the very popular Leadership in Organizations course. Also, given our location in New York City, we are really able to bring in unique adjunct faculty that work during the day and teach courses in the night. And they love giving back. This allows you the opportunity to learn not just from academic experts, but also the best real-world executives that are living and breathing this every day in their work. And a great example of that is Tanzi Whelan, who is the director for our Center on Sustainable Business, where she brings to us 25 years of experience working on local, international, environmental, and sustainability issues to engage businesses in proactive and innovative mainstreaming of sustainability. She runs a center and she teaches courses on sustainability for our students. The flavor of our education at Stern isn't just about learning through lecture. Most of the courses use case method and or experiential in nature, and the professors often bring in speakers who either reside in or are passing through New York. All of our core courses are broken down into blocks of students that you take the classes with, and within that, smaller study groups that you work with to put your presentation and group work into action. This allows you to go deep, not just learn from the amazing faculty that we have, but also from one another. So if you take the support and network of our faculty and you mix it with our New York City location, the students have the opportunity to put their ideas into action and create solutions for current business problems. So one of the questions we get asked often is, being in New York City, there are so many distractions, there's so much going on. How does Stern really harness that energy? And for us, the New York City location isn't just where we're located, it is part of our namesake, it is in our blood. We do so much to bring New York into the classroom. And we use the approach and philosophy of Stern Solutions to do that. This really allows students to maximize what they're looking to gain, the return on the investment they're making in themselves, gain hands-on experience, and really take the ideas that they're learning in the class and put them into action for clients and organizations. So Stern Solutions is a suite of courses that allow students real-world practice in fields many times with industry experts. Most of the courses are credit granting, and the students can pursue at least, and oftentimes pursue at least one Stern Solutions course. Regardless of which MBA program you're pursuing, you have access to the Stern Solutions coursework. So these are offered through all of our programs, through the full-time programs, through the focused MBA programs, as well as through Langone. One of the really cool Stern Solutions programs that I learned about recently was the Sustainability for Competitive Advantage course, in which our MBAs worked with an organization called Studio 189 and the Council of Fashion Designers of America through the Luxury Fashion Initiative. And this initiative is one where Sustainable Business Development Program works with brands to provide education and mentorship, and MBA students work with designers to help them address business questions and challenges around sustainability. They got a crash course in how to assess sustainability in the industry, how to integrate positive environmental and social performance with profitability for a specific firm, and how to identify opportunities in sustainability-driven innovation. It felt apt to mention this, given all the climate strikes and climate conversations happening this week. So time for another poll. So we have many, many popular courses at Stern, but one of our most popular one is called DBI. Take a guess, what do you think it stands for? I'll give you guys a second.
Rabia,
okay.
We asked this question around our office here at Clear Mid also. We had some mixed results from our team as well. Good question.
Okay, nice. I mean, I always think it's a popular one because people ask us about it, but it's definitely one of the cooler things that we offer that stems actually from student feedback. So let's see those results. About half of you got it right. The answer is doing business in. So doing business in is a class that allows students to study abroad before or after the spring semester and get experience on how business is done in another country. It's basically a great way to study abroad with your classmates without really losing any time in New York City. We've had many different locations over the year, but they include Sydney, Milan, Costa Rica, and Israel. It's for credit, it's a cultural immersion. It happens before or after a semester, sometimes during like a Thanksgiving break or a spring break. So you're really not losing time in the class. And if you want to study abroad, it's a great way to learn how business is done in Sydney. That's a really popular one because it happens in the winter here where it's summer in Australia. And students take that time to do the DBI and travel around Australia, New Zealand, and Southeast Asia. So that's another great example of programming that we've created that's different and unique in that it's student driven. They said they wanted to study abroad without really missing any time in New York, and we were able to, with our partners around the world, develop the DBI programming. So with that, I want to take a moment to go through the different program options that we offer and give you a little bit more detail about each one. So the programs that I'm going to be discussing today are our 2-year full-time MBA, the Langone part-time MBA, the Andre Koo Tech and Entrepreneurship program, and the Fashion and Luxury program. I will not be covering the Executive MBA program during this time. So we're going to begin by talking about the 2-year full-time MBA. It's the program that I think many of you are curious and most interested in. So our 2-year full-time MBA is really our traditional MBA program that allows students to participate in a summer internship. This is a really big distinction from the other programs that we offer. The 2-year program begins with a flexible core curriculum in which all of the students are required to take accounting and statistics. You can waive out of this by taking a class to show that you have the competencies in these areas. For example, if you're a CPA and don't want to take accounting. And then after those courses, you can choose another 5 from a menu of from a menu of core courses. So you only have to choose 5 of the 7 that we offer. What this does, it allows you to begin specializing early and start taking elective courses in as soon as your second semester. One of our most recent specializations that we have added is the healthcare specialization that we've added to the already over 20 specializations that we offer. You can take up to 3 specializations through the full-time MBA program. Most students choose to specialize in 2. You can also take advantage of other NYU graduate schools by taking up to 25% of your courses outside of Stern or through a study abroad program. So if you want to take classes at Wagner, which is the School of Public Policy, or the School of Law, if you're interested in taking classes at Tandon, which is the School of Engineering, we have pre-approved list of classes you can choose from, or you can make a case for why a certain course is interesting to you to take. It has to be a graduate level course. I want to say that the vast majority of students take advantage of this, but the truth is we offer so many courses at Stern on a wide variety range of topics that students find what they need in our program, and if not, they can go to the broader NYU network of graduate schools and take courses there. You can also study abroad at one of more than 40 partner institutions around the world. And that's great for students that are interested in getting exposure in another country, building their network in another area. If they're interested in working in London or China or Japan, you can take classes at our partner schools there and have those count towards your MBA as well. On the career side, this is where I'll say the full-time MBA program really does differ from the other programs. There's a built-in career programming option for the full-time MBA program. So it's actually baked into the curriculum. Classes are held Monday through Thursday, which allows Friday to be free for career development programming through what we call the Ignite program. So the way it begins is starting at orientation, or even before orientation, we ask for our career office asks for your resume put into the Stern format. You then are partnered with career coaches that talk to you about what you're interested in doing, what your strengths are, trying to help you navigate what your career trajectory in terms of finding a job is going to look like at Stern. And then during orientations, all students participate in a career lab where they hear from alumni, they hear from career coaches on how best to start thinking about your career search. About half of the students that come into the MBA program are looking to switch careers. And for career switchers, the story is such that you need to be able to articulate the skills that you bring in, the experience that you need in order to make that transition, either functionally or into a new industry. Companies begin coming on campus as early as October for the corporate presentations. And what I tell the students that are interested in the 2-year MBA program is you should have a general sense of what it is you want to do. The career process begins very, very early, and you can get lost very quickly. You can have Google and McKinsey and Goldman Sachs on campus like in the same week. So you're going to have to figure out what your story is for each of those industries if you are like shopping across industries. So that's why in our application process, we do ask what it is you're interested in doing. And in our interview for the 2-year full-time MBA, we also like to learn more to make sure that you have a healthy knowledge of what the career expectations are going to be. So corporate presentations happen in the fall, resume drops happen in the winter, and then companies start interviewing for summer internship positions in January and February. For a lot of the very traditional MBA recruiting processes, like for students interested in going into financial services, consulting, CPG recruiting, even some technology firms, those interviews happen in the early winter, in the early January. And then for students interested in working in nonprofit or in the luxury space, some of the firms that hire on an as-needed basis, that recruiting can stretch out later into the spring. Almost every student does a summer internship, and if they're not interested in doing a summer internship, we have venture fellowship programs to help students that are interested in starting their own business or working in the nonprofit space where they forego a salary. We have programs that help make that up for our students. So for the full-time MBA program, it really is great for students that are interested in transitioning their careers. Many of them end up working in consulting, finance, consumer packaged goods, nonprofit, healthcare, and technology. The built-in career resources and career program really helps them make that switch, tell that story, and prepare for life with an MBA in a new space. Moving on to the Andre Ku Tech MBA. So this is one of two focused MBA programs that we offer. And the Andre Ku Tech MBA is perfect for those that are deeply committed to working in technology and or entrepreneurship and want to complete their MBA in 1 year. So it begins in May and it features a focused lockstep curriculum with relevant built-in tech core and tech solutions. Electives are incorporated but are more limited than the 2-year MBA. We often get asked by prospective students interested in the tech MBA if they need to know how to code. And the answer is that they don't need to know how to code, but you have to understand how coding languages work. This program was designed really to be at the intersection of people with technical expertise and business expertise. So the tech MBA students are the special brand of MBA that really understands both the technical side and the business side. And that's really based on what companies were looking for, why we were able to develop this program with the help and support of our tech advisory board as well. So what's really great about this program is, although there's no formal summer internship in this because it's a 1-year program, it begins in May, it ends in May, you have a summer, fall, and spring semester. We have built in New York City immersions that allow you to jumpstart your career in the summer semester, where you start visiting different companies, you start networking, and then in the winter, you go to the West Coast where you meet with students, work on projects with companies and alums. We have a very, very active tech advisory board which meets with students, provides them with mentoring, programming, as well as project opportunities specifically for the tech MBA students. And as I mentioned, there's no formal summer internship, but students have gone on to work at a variety of different experiential projects, including Jet.com and IBM and City Ventures, where students worked on a project last year that thinks about how to build smart cities with City Ventures. Our graduates have gone on to work at companies like Microsoft, Amazon, IBM, Uber, as well as some that have started their own ventures. So the Andre Ku Tech MBA really is for students that are interested to go deep in tech. They know they want to work in tech. Either they want to work as a product manager, they want to work at a startup as one of the first like 10, 15 employees, whether they want to work at large tech, small tech, or they want to start thinking about and building out their own business. The tech MBA is for you. The Stern Solutions programming that I mentioned earlier is built into the Andre Ku Tech MBA, so it is part of the actual program. And this allows for students to network, to build their ideas, to start thinking about how to function as someone with both tech expertise as well as business expertise. So when they go out, they have both of those skills ready and able for the companies that they're going to be joining. The Fashion and Luxury MBA is the second of our two 1-year focused MBA programs. And it's perfect for students that are really interested in focusing on fashion, luxury, retail, and the beauty industry. Again, these were corporate partners that were saying, we have a lot of really great creative people. We have a lot of really great business people, but like no one that really knows how to bridge the gap in between. And so this 1-year program really is looking for students that have a commitment to those industries and want to complete their MBA in 1 year. It begins in May and it features a lockstep curriculum like the Tech MBA. It starts with the business core, followed by the fashion and luxury core, and then the fashion solutions, which is the Stern Consulting core programming specifically for the fashion and luxury MBA program. We also have a fashion and luxury council for this program that's made up of industry leaders, and it provides mentorship and support for our students throughout the program as well. Built into here are also New York City immersions, as well as a Europe immersion, which happened later in the semester. Last year, our students went to Milan and met with companies and organizations in Milan. That's part of the F&L program. There's no formal summer internship here, but we do, in the past, last year, partnered with the Museum of Modern Art and LVMH on a number of different projects. Our graduates from this most recent crop, which is our first group of graduates, have gone on to work at Shiseido, L'Oreal, Price Waterhouse, as well as Amazon's retail leadership program. So the two 1-year MBAs are new-ish. We graduated one group and the second group just started this past May. And we're seeing a lot of really, really great traction on them, not just from the industry, but also interest from students that really want to go deep in those two industries. Which brings me to the last of the 4 MBA programs I'll be talking about today. which is the Langone MBA program. So the Langone MBA program has a very flexible schedule. It's really built for a working professional. So this program was designed in mind for students that are working and need the flexibility to get their MBA. There are a whole host of different ways you can complete this program. You can do it on the weekends, so take classes on Saturdays. You can do it on weeknights, either Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. You could do it in an accelerated format if you want to complete it in 2 years. And you can do it at our Westchester campus, which is located in SUNY Purchase in Purchase, New York. And you can go as slow or as fast as you'd like. So unlike the Focus MBAs where it's May to May 1 year lockstep, this is very much the flexible program where you can complete it in 2 years or 6 years. When you apply, we ask that you indicate which program, the weekend, weeknights, accelerated, or Westchester that you would like to be admitted to. We enroll 2 cohorts of the Langone program. We enroll a fall class and a spring class, and classes are offered year-round. So classes are in the fall and the spring. We have sessions in the summer, intensive periods where you take classes multiple days a week in the late summer and January. So whether you want to speed it up or you want to slow it down, it's really up to you for how you want to do that. It also gives you the flexibility to take classes and adjust your schedule as you like. Like all of our other programs, students can participate in student clubs, doing business in programs, Stern Solutions programming. It's really a program that's designed for the busy working professional. It's the one thing I'll mention about career in terms of the Langone part-time program is we have a separate center that works with part-time students and alumni called the Career Center for Working Professionals. And this center puts on workshops, puts on seminars, has one-on-one coaching sessions virtually as well as in person to help Langone students figure out their career trajectory and the next steps that they're looking to do. Because they're all working professionals, they don't have the on-campus recruiting process that happens traditionally with the full-time program, but there are ways, and many students are able to find new jobs, network, participate in career programming through the Career Center for Working Professionals that is available to them. So with that, I wanted to leave a little bit of time for us to take some questions. I see we've gotten a bunch of questions to help sort of like answer any questions that you might have that I didn't address today. So Mike, if it's okay with you, should I just start answering the questions?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. We can go down the list if you'd like.
Sure. That sounds great.
Perfect. And also a good time to mention, if you do have questions still and you're with us in the session, feel free to type them in to the Q&A box. And again, as many as we are able to get to that are great for the full audience to answer, we will do that. The only reason we may skip anyone's question, if it is a question that's not really eligible to be answered in a public forum, we'll just let you know, and we'll maybe answer you on the side somewhere. So the first thing up here, just is there a difference, and this is more of a terminology thing, and I see this a lot, between specialization compared to area of interest?
Yes, so great question. So specializations are what we call basically our equivalent of what a major is. So specializations consist of 3 classes that you take in any particular area to get the specialization. They are developed by the different programs. So like the finance group and the management group, they come up with their own specializations, and they qualify their classes to fit into the specializations as they see fit. We offer a whole host of different courses, and we're constantly adding courses to our to the roster that we offer that allows us to then tweak and offer new specializations. Areas of interest, we just internally classify them as more related to your career area. So you might be interested in a career in finance, but there are multiple specializations that can help you get there. So you can specialize in anything from corporate finance to like investment management, or like we have a whole host of different like finance specializations that fall into that, and you can do all of them or none of them, but still be focused on an area of interest that is within finance. So the specializations may fall into multiple areas of interest, but with what you graduate with, the technical term for the coursework that we have and the way that they're grouped are called specializations.
There you go. And it's a great answer, because I do know with a lot of programs that we cover on the site, we typically do have a lot of questions about what's a specialization versus a major versus a concentration versus an industry focus. And looking at the Venn diagram, there are some places where those intersect, but there's also some places where they could be different and still make someone successful and a good reason to pursue the MBA. So thank you for that. Next question that came in: are there any industry immersions other than M&E?
Yeah, so we used to host a whole group of different industry immersions, and now the media and entertainment one is the one that is offered. And the reason why this changed really is because the student clubs that we have taken over a lot of the programming to help students understand what it's like to work in a new industry. We understand that half of our students that are coming in to the full-time MBA program are coming in to make career transitions. And what you need in order to do that is a lot of help to figure out your story. If you're going into consulting, you need to understand what the case method is like. We bring in alums to learn what their journeys are like. Our career offices does that, but they also partner with the student clubs to provide a whole host of programming to really help students understand what it's like to work in a new space. Companies want to partner with us in many, many different ways. And so for students that want an immersion in a different way, the Stern Solutions programming, I think, offers a whole host of different ways to go about business problems and challenges and help come up with solutions, working with partners while doing that. And so that's a great way to get hands-on, actual experiential experience and learn what it's like to work in another industry on a real problem. And so those are ways that we're constantly evolving what we're looking to do with our programming, not just on the academic side, but also the mix of both what's happening academically, experientially, and with the career. And I think being in New York really allows you to be nimble and agile and adapt based on the needs of our students, based on the needs of what they're looking for, and the programming that we can offer with a lot of our partners, as well as the offices internally.
All right. Okay, so next question we've had, this may be a short, easy one for you. So is the Tech MBA student eligible for the DBI program, which I believe is yes, right?
Yeah, the answer is yes for some DBI programs. Because they have their immersions that happen in the winter semester, those immersions are likely going to take them away from doing the DBIs that happen in the winter semester, because the Tech MBA, for example, is on the West Coast. But if it's a program, there are limited electives that are available to the one-year MBA programs. And if one of the electives is a DBI that you want to take and you can fit it into your schedule, you're absolutely able to do that.
There we go. Tried to give you a quick one there. Another, so there's a group of questions that are all regarding, just so that everyone who's here understands how I'm skipping around here. There's a group of questions about entrepreneurship. There's also a group about career services. So I'm trying to skip around, and we'll get to those as we move around here. So another one that's maybe more of an easier answer would be anybody who's a weekend student, which I would assume would be part of the Langone program. Are they encouraged to live within the New York City metro area? And I guess that since you guys have.
Yeah, absolutely. So because the weekend courses are offered on Saturdays, we have a group of students every year that comes from outside of New York. We have people that come from Boston, from DC. Classes are 9 to 12 and 1 to 4 on weekends. And so we certainly have people that come from outside of the New York City metro area to do the program on weekends.
And I guess it's one of the better cities for that, right? And there's plenty of airports, plenty of ways to get in there. Train,
yep.
Right? So it's nice to have the NYU program offering a weekender. So that's great. So it does give folks options then, right? I mean, if you are not if you're not fiscally available to quit a job for a few years, it's a great option to still be able to go to NYU to pursue an MBA and do this weekend program.
Absolutely, that is correct. And it just goes to the flexible nature of that program. We really want to be able to provide something for students to meet whatever their needs are and still have the opportunity to get an MBA from NYU Stern.
All right. So as we move into some of the nonprofit social entrepreneurship type questions, this was also a pre-submitted question, which is just more in general. You know, we have people that want to get into nonprofit management, social entrepreneurship. What are some of the quality of those courses? What are the programs that NYU offers, or any type of assistance maybe to help these businesses get off the ground?
Sure. So for students interested in social entrepreneurship, nonprofit management, we've done a tremendous amount to build out this area over the years. There are a couple of different things that I can talk about it from like a school-wide macro level. There are a number of new centers that have opened up that sort of work in this space. As I mentioned, Tansi Whelan is the director of the Center for Sustainable Business. We have another center that's focused on business and human rights, the first of its kind amongst any top business school. This is something a lot of our faculty members are thinking about, are constantly talking about, and we do a lot to include our students in those conversations, in that research, in those programs and projects. We have a specific specialization that's geared specifically for students interested in this area, and it's a Sustainable Business and Innovation specialization. And that has a whole host of courses that talk to things in this area. We also, students that are interested in sustainable business or nonprofit, as I mentioned, can take a quarter of their classes at Wagner, which is the School of Public Policy. And that's always interesting because you get sort of this like policy perspective and this business perspective. Students that I know that have taken classes at Wagner or in the dual degree program, which I should mention, we have a dual degree program with the Wagner School of Public Service. They oftentimes come back and say it's really interesting to talk about a problem and look at it from a business standpoint and what sort of the stakeholders and the issues are on that end, as well as like a policy standpoint. And then understand really what the challenges are looking at a problem coming from different perspectives. So for students that are interested in this space, there's a tremendous infrastructure at NYU that allows for that. Through our business plan competition, we also have a social entrepreneurship leg where students can participate in the business plan competition and submit a business proposal for a sustainable business for a social enterprise. And one really cool thing about the business plan competition that I'd love to mention is Stern has a bunch of them. We have like the ones that I mentioned, the traditional business. We have a mission app possible where students put together an app. NYU has a whole host of different business plan sort of competition type things that are offered there as well. But what's neat about Stern's program is even if you don't win the money, even if you don't win the couple $100,000 at the end of the program, the mentorship, the support, the ideas, the network that you build along the way, taking your business plan, running it by people, connecting with people from the VC industry or entrepreneurs and getting feedback on it. Just that process is so valuable, whether you leave with seed money to start your business or just to understand the framework around what it takes to start a business and a successful business, the questions that you should be asking, the people that you should be meeting. I think it is an opportunity that I wish more and more students took advantage of because the MBA is such a short period of time and it's really the best time to take those risks, to ask those questions, whether you know or don't know what you want to do. And the business plan competition does a great job to provide you with like the structure to do that. So for people interested in social enterprise, oftentimes either like tangentially or they want to go all in with that, I think our Berkeley Innovation Lab has a lot of programming for budding social entrepreneurs.
Fantastic. And you even crossed into that second piece, which is, more of that career development and maybe not people just focus on entrepreneurship. How can you get some of those experiences, which are so important? So that's great that there's plenty of ways to do that there. When it comes to internships, do you ever see students that are getting internship opportunities abroad?
Yes, actually, absolutely. So I'll answer this question in two ways. One is, do international students get internship opportunities? And the other one is, does any student get internship opportunities abroad? And the answer to both of those questions is yes. Companies are looking for the best talent, whether that is international or domestic. They're looking for students that are going to add value to their firm in many different ways. And they're looking at NYU to provide them with the best students for those roles. And so students are able to work with our dedicated career coach who works specifically with international students to help them secure roles, whether it's in the States or in their home country or somewhere else. We have corporate relationships that are global, as well as alumni networks that are always looking to bring in the best students, hire students from Stern. So there's a huge infrastructure in place to help international students get jobs here as well as abroad. And then for domestic students that want to work abroad, yes, we do. We've done a lot of programming that even goes international. We've gone to London and Hong Kong, for example, and done treks there in the past where students meet with companies, alumni about working in those regions, what it's like to get a job there, what the sort of like the global pulse is in those markets. And so there's a lot of opportunities to do that. We have a really, really extensive alumni network of over 100,000 alumni all over the world, many of whom come together at our global alumni conferences. I'm actually going to Singapore in a couple of weeks to attend, to recruit, but also to attend one of our conferences that's happening there. And so there's a lot of, our global footprint is huge. And it would be remiss if I didn't mention that because of the global network university that NYU is part of with our schools having like NYU campuses in Abu Dhabi and Shanghai, those relationships just get deeper and deeper in other parts of the world as well.
World traveler. How long are you going to Singapore? A couple days?
I'm actually going on a tour. I'm going to go around the world, first to London, then to Dubai, and then to Singapore, and then back around the world. So all in a week. So going to do it quick, meeting with prospective students and alumni. Right? It's what I signed up for. It's what I love most about my job.
And for the users in the room who think, right, it's easy, you guys sit and read applications. No, there's a lot of work. It's not luxurious travel sometimes. So give the admissions office a break if they take a day to answer you. You know, it's sometimes they're in a plane. For you, most of the week could be in a plane. So moving into the next section of questions here, we have a lot of questions about more of the admissions process. So I'll try to group some of these together here. So one general question that came in the pre-submitted questions was, is there a large difference in what you look for between the different programs? So you mentioned, 4 different programs today. Do you really have, I guess, a major difference in the type of candidate you're looking for like a full-time versus a Langone versus a tech MBA?
Yeah, it's actually a really good question. And I'll, before I answer that, I'll just make a plug we will be hosting some admissions chats where you can ask the admissions directors questions specifically on the application process, what we're looking for, how to submit a great application. So be on the lookout for that. In terms of what we're looking for in our applicants, the programs are designed for different type of students. And so in the application process, we're basically looking for 3 things. We're asking 3 questions. 1, can this person handle the rigor of our MBA program? So do they have like the chops to take the kind of coursework that's going to be offered here? So we look at your standardized tests, we look at your undergraduate record, we look at like any proof points that can help us feel like you are someone that we feel would be fine in the classroom and are ready for that. Then we look at who is this person as a professional. And this is where I'll say it's different for the programs that you're applying for. So with who are you as a professional for like the full-time program, like what we're looking at your resume, we're looking at your EQ endorsements, which are our recommendations. And we're looking at your essay to see, has this person thought about their story? Have they thought about why they want to do the full-time program or the part-time program or the focus program? Do they know that why this is the right program for them? Are they looking to make an unreasonable career switch? Like, are we going to be able to help them get there? Are they self-aware about what they are missing? Because for the full-time program and the 2 focus programs, the on-campus recruiting process happens really, really quickly. So the self-awareness is essential. Like, you need to be able to understand what you bring to the table and what you are looking to gain with the MBA to help you get to where you're going. The part-time program, we're really looking for why you want to do it part-time. What are your expectations on a career end? Are you looking to make a career switch with a part-time program, which is very, very difficult to do? But then why is this the right program for you? So it's really articulating why the choice of program, and the sort of like the self-awareness of what you need to get to your end goals, and then why the programs are chosen for you. So that's, I think, where the biggest difference we see across programs is in sort of like those first essays about why this program, or why the MBA, why now. The personal expression essay, which is our Pick 6 essay, is my favorite thing about our application process. And this, I think, is like, regardless of which program you are applying to, we ask for this essay. What I love about this essay is it allows people to really just like take their suit jackets off, like take off their get out of their alma mater, wherever they went to undergrad, and just talk about who they are as a human being. Like what excites them, what are their passions, what makes them unique and different, what is important to them. You have 6 pictures that you can send us that just tells that story. I think oftentimes people really overthink it, and they think they need like the perfectly curated, Insta-filtered photo, which is not the point at all. The point really is to like, we're now living in a world where like so much of what we consume is visual, and we wanted to like give that opportunity to our students to visually explain to us who they are and what they want their fellow classmates to know about them. I love doing this. I think some do's and don'ts to make sure that applicants do this correctly is like, don't just re-articulate what's already in your essay. Like, don't add the logo of your company because we already know that from your resume. Don't like put your alma mater because we know where you went to school. Like, put something different. Like, talk about what you do on weekends that's exciting to you. Talk about like what drives you, what's exciting about you. Don't use it as a missed opportunity because you're overthinking it and you think you should just reinforce the ideas that we've already seen in your essay. It's really an opportunity to differentiate yourself. No 2 Pick 6s are going to be the same, but I can tell you a lot of the other essays sound very similar because people like all have like the similar goals. They've come from like backgrounds that aren't similar, but their story kind of like is going in the same direction. They're obviously all going towards the MBA, but the Pick 6 is really like where those differences show up. And when we're looking to build a community where IQ plus EQ is at the foundation, this is the essay that really helps us see like that come to life. And so I think it's just a really fun way for us to get to know you outside of school and work and your undergrad and what your recommenders or your EQ endorsers say about you. It's really like what you want us to know about you that you haven't had an opportunity to articulate in another part of the application.
I love that. So Pick 6 it's called? That's the, you submit 6?
It's the Pick 6. Yep.
Really,
Pick
really
6
cool.
images.
Pick 6 images. And that was another question actually that was going to be the next one, was more about that particular essay. So I think you definitely covered some good information about how that goes. Another popular question that we saw both in the pre-submitted and we have it here in the Q&A is if you had any advice for reapplicants, what can they do better this time, and any advice that you can give to them. And what I will say to kind of preempt your answer maybe is I'm sure that there may be slight differences to how you would answer this depending on the program, but I'll allow you to kind of take it from there.
Yeah, so we love reapplicants. We admit reapplicants every single year into our program. But what I will say is if you submit the same application that you did last year, you'll have a very similar outcome. And we review your new application and your old application together. We have it on file, so we'll look at it. And what we're really looking to see is like, are you self-aware enough to know where your shortcomings are? Unfortunately, we're unable to give feedback on people's applications. The volume is extensive, as you can imagine. But we do expect, and in talking to people that are like thinking about reapplying, they're pretty aware of where they think some of those like shortcomings might have been. And so the best way to approach the reapplication is to take a look at your application, take a look at our class profile, read through your essays, think about who you chose as your endorsers, and think about what your story is. If this is the right time for you to reapply, then definitely take the next step to do that. But you have to look back at your application to see where you might have fallen short. Oftentimes, people rethink who they got for their endorsers to see if someone else can add a little bit more color to their application. Some applicants think or feel that they want to retake one of our standardized tests to boost their scores. We have ranges for all of our programs on the program website, so you can see where 80% of our students fell in terms of their GMAT and their GPA. We also offer 3 different standardized test options. You can take the GMAT, the GRE, or this year we are officially accepting the executive assessment as another test option. We want to provide you with as many opportunities to put your best foot forward, and we want to provide options so you're not stuck with just one option. So feel free to take a different test if you think that that's really where you want to where you want to spend some of your time. And some people are like, I really didn't explain what happened in undergrad. I really didn't explain like why it was just a tough time for me. So use the optional essay to provide any more color that you may have left out of your previous application.
Yeah, that's usually that last piece. I think it's tough for most people, right? Because you some people don't like to speak about themselves. They don't want to put themselves in a weird light. So it's in the application. I think the more you can open up and show who you are and show what you're about and really show why NYU is the school for you. The admissions office, they appreciate that stuff. They appreciate you opening up and admitting where your negatives are, really promoting where your positives are, and showing why that is the school for you. So. I think actually that pick 6 idea of showing more pictures and getting a more personal feel, hopefully the applicants who are in the room with us right now understand that type of process, how that is a little different than a lot of other schools that just go off of test scores. You're getting to know the student a lot better and seeing how they fit. And I think the assessment does that as well from what I've heard of the assessment. So this is all moving in the direction of, helping people feel more at home, which is great. With that, I don't believe there's really any other generalized questions out here. Rabia, it's up to you. I don't know if you have any more that you would like to cover, but I think we may be able to kind of close it now.
Sure.
Look and let me know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. And as I mentioned earlier, we're on the road right now, like visiting lots of different countries and cities. So please visit our website and sign up for an event. We also would love for you to come to visit us. We love visitors. You can take a tour, sign up to sit in on a class, or just meet with our current students and ask them about their experience. If you happen to be in New York or passing through, definitely look on our website and sign up to come for a visit. I know it's a lot of information that I just provided, and I'm sure that you have some more questions. So as I mentioned, we'll be hosting some upcoming chats on the admissions process and provide some tips on how to submit a great application. So check back for those dates and times. And with that, I just want to say thank you all so much for joining us. The last piece of advice I'll leave you with is the MBA it seems intimidating right now before you've applied, but for so many of our alums, it was the best decision they made in terms of investing for themselves. So the best thing I can say for you is like keep doing your research, keep asking lots of questions, come visit. And the last thing that I'll leave you with is what I can guarantee is if you do not apply, you definitely will not get in. So we hope that we see your application in the coming cycle. Thank you all so much. And thank you, Mike, for playing MC.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you to all who have joined us today. I already do see we dropped the link, Rabia, into the chat for those who may want to register.
Perfect.
The upcoming chat that we have coming up in a couple weeks. And we already have a few people from this session who have registered for the next one. So that is fantastic. Hopefully those folks will continue in this process. Maybe we'll have a couple NYU students coming out of here. I don't know. It looks like that it's going in that direction. So, so thanks again for sharing all of your insight and information. Thank to all the attendees, and we hope to see you at the next event.
Great. Thank you so much, Mike, and thank you all. Have a great day.